All right, welcome to our lesson. I'm Brian, and today we're going to be covering word problems with decimals.
Hey everybody, welcome to Decimal Word Problems on the Teas with me, Brian. So let's get it started. All right, our goals for this lesson is that we will be able to solve word problems with decimals and determine how to approach word problems. One of the things that I hear a lot is that word problems can be very confusing. So we're going to go over some great ways to set up problems to really go through them to make sure that you feel the most comfortable. Key vocabulary. If we see these are going to be great indicators of what you are working with. So 1 is the sum, which is the answer to an addition problem. 2, the difference, which is the answer to a subtraction problem. 3 is the product, which is the answer to a multiplication problem. And we have quotient, which is the answer to a division problem. We may see these words. I may refer to them as these words. So just know that if you do hear those, it does refer to our 4 operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Key points, we are going to read the entire problem first. Always read it before you get started so that this way you fully understand the situation. You've seen any special directions. You know if it's an estimation problem versus a solve this problem, and you just kind of get a picture of what's happening. Key point number 2, picture what is happening. So are you seeing things being combined? Are you seeing things being taken away? Do you see the same amount being used over and over and over again? Or are you creating equal groups? So that will indicate what might be happening if you can picture the scenario of the word problem. Then we're going to go sentence by sentence to see what you can figure out. We only do one sentence at a time. The biggest thing that we fall into is that if we don't go sentence by sentence, we try to do a lot of stuff at once, and it just doesn't work out that way for us. It becomes too much, too difficult to really understand what's happening, so we just do a little bit at a time. 4, after you complete a problem, label what you just found. So if you found the number 7, is it 7 turtles? Is it 7 teachers? Is it 7 students? If you label what you found, it'll save you some time in the long run because then you understand what's happening in the problem and where you got those numbers from. Key point number 5, when you think you are finished, ask, did I answer the question? This is going to be very important because if you've answered the question correctly, then you can move on. Or sometimes you're like, I just found 7 students and it asked me how much desks will cost. And then you're like, oh, I didn't solve what the question was actually asking me for. Take an extra second, make sure you answered the correct question, and then continue. Why do we do this? So unfortunately, problems that occur in life are not going to be presented with the correct equation. So just like any muscle, we really have to practice word problems and interpreting these situations in order to get stronger in our understanding of how to solve these problems. So not a question mark, because you're not going to be questioning these anymore. What you're going to turn is questions into excitement. So we often get nervous about this, but we are going to tackle these together. So no worries, no hesitation, let's jump in. We see our sample questions. As always, you can either do those with me step by step so you can understand what's happening, or you can pause and try them on your own. Or a mix of both. Totally up to you. Sample question number 1. Lorenzo ordered pens for $18.97, notepads for $28.56, and other supplies for $35.75. Altogether, how much did Lorenzo spend? Okay, so let's go piece by piece. So I know he ordered pens for $18.97. So I'm just going to create a little chart here. And actually, let's go with white. That might be easier to see. We know this is $18.97, and these are pens. Notepads for $28.56. So if I look at this, again, let's look at notepad. So let's put the number on top. $28.56. And these are notepads. And then other supplies for $37.75. Again, the size of the boxes don't matter if this is the method you're going to use, as long as you've labeled. And I see it says altogether, how much did Lorenzo spend? So if I'm going to put these together, I'm going to imagine my boxes being the same size. So even if they're off by a little bit, I'm really looking for what is the total amount spent here for all of these. So this problem is going to be an addition problem. Altogether was a clue, but I know if we're spending those amounts, we're looking for the total, and when we find the total, we add all our numbers together. So I'm going to put $18.97, line up my decimal, $28.56, $35.75, and I'm going to add these three together. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 5 is 18. Drop the 8, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 7 is 22. Drop the 2, carry the 2. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 5 is 23. Drop the 3, carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 3 is 8. We have $83.28. So our final answer, $83.28. Sample question number 2. Julian received a paycheck for $710.50. If he makes $14.50 an hour, how many hours did Julian work? Okay, so I'm going to look at his paycheck. He received a paycheck for $710.50. Now, I know that this is the most amount, right? When you get a paycheck, you're not receiving more than that. You're actually just receiving that total amount. Now, if I look, I know that he makes $14.50 an hour. So he's worked a certain number of hours. So we can say X hours. That's what we're looking for because the money goes with how many hours he worked. So I know that first amount is $14.50 for the first hour. The second hour, he also gets $14.50. The third hour, he gets $14.50. All the way down to the last hour. So I know we're making equal groups of $14.50. So this is a division problem. So we're going to take the total amount that he made and we're going to divide it by $14.50. If you have to do this by hand because your school will not let you use a calculator, try this out. You can also go back and check out the dividing decimals lesson if you need extra practice. But for here, we are going to use our calculator to divide. When we do this, we do get 49. So Julian worked 49 hours. All right, sample question number 3. Cheryl is taking 2 medications. One of the medications has a dose of 45 hundredths grams, and the other has a dose of 715 thousandths grams. What is the total amount of medication Cheryl takes? All right, so let's take the first sentence. We know Cheryl takes 2 medications. So we get 1, and we get 2. One of the medications has a dose of 0.45 grams. So we can do that here, 0.45 grams. And we know the other medication has a dose of 715 thousandths grams. And it's looking for the total amount of medication. So that means that these 2 medications are actually being combined at the same time. So if we're looking for the missing total, this is going to again be an addition problem. So I'm going to take my numbers, 0.45 or 45 hundredths, 0 and 715 thousandths grams, making sure I line up my decimal point before I add. If it helps, I can put in a placeholder 0 and add it. 0 plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6, 4 plus 7 is 11, drop the 1, carry the 1, 1 plus 0 is 1, and we get 1 and 165 thousandths grams for this problem. Sample question number 4. Keaton is in charge of the office budget. He spent $132.50 on toner, $87.98 on copy paper, and $98.21 on other supplies. If the budget is $500, how much money does Keaton have left in the budget? All right, so I know that this whole problem is a budget problem. So I'm going to look and I'm going to see that this is going to be the entire budget. Why? Because if you have a budget, you know you can't go more than that. It seems like we're going out of order, but I'm picking up on what is happening in the problem, and I know that the budget is $500. Can't spend more. The problem said how much is left, which means we don't spend $500, so everything will fit inside. Now, great, charge of office budget. We set up what the budget was. That was the first sentence. He spent $132.50 on toner. So $132.50 on toner. We know that, so that's gone. $87.98 on copy paper. That's done. And we have $98.21 on other supplies. It says if the budget's $500, we have that. How much is left? So what we're looking for is this part right here. How much is left? Now, if the whole thing is $500, and we get rid of those words, what we can find is how much this is equal to, because this amount plus what was missing from the box should equal 500. So my first step is find the total cost. So we're going to put our 3 costs down, line up our decimal points, and add them together. So 8 plus 1 is 9, 5 plus 9 is 14, plus 2 is 16, decimal point. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 7 is 10, plus 8 is 18. Drop the 8, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 8 is 12, plus 9 is 21. Drop the 1, carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So the total cost of everything is $318.69. So I can erase this question mark because I've now solved it. $318.69. Now I'm going to look for how much is left. So if I have this amount, I'm missing this piece right here. This is going to be a subtraction problem. So step 2, we take our budget of $500, and I'm going to add the decimal point and 2 zeros, minus $318.69. You can put this in your calculator. You can also subtract 0 minus 9. We can't do it. We're subtracting across zeros, so you have to go all the way to the 5, make it a 4, and we pass it down the line. So that's 10, borrow 1, that's 9. 10, 9, 10, 9, and we leave this one as 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 6 is 3. Decimal point, 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. So there is $181.31 left in the budget. So 2 steps here, but if we organize our information, it does become easier to understand what to do. Let's look at sample question number 5. Dr. Watts opened up a 100 milliliter bottle of medication. She accidentally spilled 5 milliliters on the floor. If each dose is 4.75 milliliters, how many doses can Dr. Watts make? Okay, so let's interpret what's happening here. First, we open up a 100 milliliter bottle of medication. So we know that this is the bottle. The bottle has 100 milliliters. Good. That's how we interpret this first part. She accidentally spilled 5 milliliters on the floor. Now I know that those 5 milliliters are going to come from the 100 milliliter bottle. Now, what I notice is if this is 5 that was spilled, then I must have 95 milliliters left because 100 minus 5 is equal to 95 milliliters. Now, from that 95 milliliters, we can see that we're making doses of 4.75. So the first one's 4.75, the second one's 4.75, all the way down to the last one. So we're making equal groups of 4.75 milliliters, which means this is going to be a division problem. So we have 95 milliliters left. We're going to divide that by 4.75. So if we put that into our calculators, 95 divided by 4.75, that's going to give us 20. So Dr. Watts can make 20 doses. Once we organize our information, it does become easier for us to understand what is happening. All right, let's look at our final sample question, number 6. Gina is installing new flooring. Each square foot of flooring costs $15.75. If her apartment is 650.5 square feet, how much will she spend on new flooring? All right, so let's start to interpret this problem. Gina is installing new flooring. Each square foot of flooring costs $15.75. If her apartment is 650 square feet, okay, so we kind of understand what's happening. Installing new flooring, that's great. That's cool for Gina, but that's not going to help us with the problem. It's not really doing anything for us. We know that each square foot of flooring cost $15.75. So if we start to think about this, we know that the first one is going to be $15.75. And that's 1 square foot. If I took this, I know that the second square foot is going to be the same thing. The third and fourth square foot are going to be the same thing. We start to get the picture. All of these are going to end up being the same thing. So I notice $15.75 is repeated how many times? Where do I get that from? So I know each square foot is $15.75 per square foot, and it's 650.5 square feet. So it's repeated 650.5 times. That means this is going to be a multiplication problem. So I'm going to take my numbers, $15.75 times 650.5 square feet. Remember, for multiplication, you do not have to line up your decimals, so we can multiply these. Let's use our calculator for this. And that's going to give me, let's look, 10245,375. Now, let's look at where to put the decimal. 2 numbers after the decimal here, 1 number after the decimal here, which means we have a total of 3 numbers after the decimal, so our decimal point goes here. Now, some of you may say that this is the final answer, but this problem deals with money. And when you think about money, we only ever have 2 numbers after the decimal. So we round to the nearest cent. The 7 is in the cents place. So we do look behind. The 5 tells the 7 to round up to become an 8. 3, 5, 4, 2, comma, 0, 1. Now, in this problem, it may not tell you to estimate, but it does require you to have knowledge of money, the decimal points behind money, and how that works. So here we go, $10,245.38. All right, it is your turn to go try these on your own. Congratulations, you have crushed another lesson, and I can't wait to work with you soon.
Y'all, that was wild, but congratulations on crushing another lesson here at Nurse Hub. You should be proud and then continue working to make sure you fully understand everything that you just watched. Remember, practice is the only thing that we need to make ourselves better at all of these topics. Good luck, and I hope to see you soon.